All right, then, let's complete the pack of forwards then in the player power rankings. We've arrived at number 8. Why is the number 8 called the number 8? Did you know? I only found this out recently. It used to be called the lock because they would kind of lock the second rows in place. But then the second row started being called lock. So number 8 didn't have a name anymore. Every other position on the rugby pitch has got a kind of descriptive name. But basically they went, they wear a number 8. And that's how he came up with the name. But the number 8 on a rugby field, quite often one of the best players. And I'm not just saying that because that's where I've played most of my rugby down the years as an 8th man. You need to have a good balance of athleticism, size, power, but you need to have a really good rugby brain as well. You're a linchpin position, and some of the best players in the world, when you think about historically number 8s, you're looking at Lawrence Dallaglio, Immanuel Harry-Nordique, the great Frenchman, Zinzan Brooke or Kieran Reid. New Zealand have had some great ones. Wayne Shelford as well. Dwayne Vermeulen more recently. That's the kind of player. How do the current top 10 stack up? Well, I've got a new top 10 that I've picked. Last time out, it looked like this. And yeah, there have been some changes. Well, Rob Valentini, as you would have seen on a previous video, and all of the positions so far are there in the feed. Go and check them out if you haven't already. Hit subscribe on the channel, give the video a thumbs up, leave your comment down below. There are 2 new faces because one of the player is dropping out, and there is plenty of movement within the top 10. Yesterday was the previous video looking at open side flanker was the first time that the number 1 position had changed. What will happen with this one? Well, at number 10 this time, Aaron Wainwright drops down a couple. He played a couple of games in November, a couple of games in the summer. He's not, I would think he's going to be an automatic pick for the Six Nations for Warren Gatland, but you can never be sure. Wales have got lots of options. Aaron Wainwright maybe wasn't quite as influential as he was during the Rugby World Cup in the Six Nations, but still an exceptional player and well worth his place on the list. At number 9, also dropping down, is Quacker Smith. He started at number 8 against Scotland. I kind of thought coming off the back of the World Cup where he was just incredible in that bench role. Like just the most influential player off the bench maybe ever. And so good in that role. And I kind of thought on that basis, well, he's earned the right to have a start, hasn't he? And he did start against Scotland. He started those 2 test matches against Ireland. And in truth, only served to highlight that he is a guy that's good on the bench, and that is and should be his role moving forward. And in that role, as a demon for 20 minutes, a little Tasmanian devil for 20 minutes, Quacker Smith is absolutely awesome. But consequently, after having those starts and not really having the same level of impact, I've dropped him down a couple of spots. Jack Dempsey stays where he is at number 8. One of the key men for Scotland. He's made that number 8 jersey his own. He is that kind of classic number 8. Big, very athletic, lovely hands, runs smart lines. He's been brilliant. And along with Matt Fagerson, Rory Darge and Jack Dempsey for Glasgow winning the URC for Scotland, they've been brilliant. And he was Australian born, and it would be very, very special if, and it's possible if, he can earn a spot on the plane with the British and Irish Lions. We'll wait and see about that. But he is at number 8. Let me know if you disagree. At number 7, a man who will be captaining the Aussies against the British and Irish Lions. He played every minute of the Rugby Championship. It's mad to think that a year ago, Harry Wilson was an Australia A player. He was not taken to the Rugby World Cup by Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones departed. Joe Schmidt came in, and the first thing he did was go, Harry Wilson, get over here. In fact, you're my captain. Not only are you in the team, you're my main man, and you're going to play every single minute that you're fit and available to play, which is exactly what happened. And he has been sensational. And again, just like Scotland, the balance in that back row when they have their best players fit and all available, and Australia and Scotland don't have a lot of depth, so they need them on the field. Rob Valentini, Fraser McReight, Harry Wilson, that's an elite back row, really is. He's had a great year. And another newcomer, and the youngest on the list as well, Joaquin Oviedo, 23 years of age. Now, he was taken by Michael Cheika to the Rugby World Cup with Argentina. However, he was only used in, I think it was a game against Chile, and he only played like 15 minutes. So he was basically not really used at the Rugby World Cup. Argentina have got a lot of good back row players, and he was only 21, 22 at the time. He's 23 now, and Felipe Contepomi, just like Joe Schmidt, has said, "You're my boy. There's the number 8 jersey. It's yours." And even with a back row as good as Juan Martin Gonzalez, Kremer and Matera, who featured on the lists previously, this guy has become undroppable for Los Pumas. And I think he was the one player through November who played every single minute for Argentina, and he was absolutely amazing. He has had a phenomenal 2024. And yeah, so young, so talented. What a breakthrough year it's been. Number 5, Jasper Wiese. Now, we missed the July tests for South Africa against Ireland. And he's only proved through the Rugby Championship and in the November test that he's the main man in the number 8 jersey. Quacker Smith did have that opportunity, didn't take it. Jasper Wiese came straight back in. And I'd imagine if you're a South African fan, you went, and relax. We've got our boy in the number 8 jersey. He's only 29, so maybe coming into some prime years, playing out in Japan now. That will extend his career because the workload's not as big. He is not as big as Dwayne Vermeulen, but my goodness me, this guy packs a punch. He is just, he's just like a tank of a man. Squat, low body centre of gravity, but such a good ball carrier. He's one of the more destructive, straight up the middle number 8s on this list. Ben Earl, who he's a little bit like Quacker Smith in just he's being all action, but for England he has been their best player during and since the Rugby World Cup. He is just a key man, and to think Eddie Jones never used to use him for England, and despite fans like myself watching him week in, week out in the Premiership saying, how can you not pick this guy? He's unreal. There's quite a few people I've said that about in the past. Will he be number 8 for England in the Six Nations? Bearing in mind Sam Underhill is injured. Bearing in mind Ben Earl might play number 8 for England, but he plays number 7 mainly for Saracens. Tom Willis at Saracens is playing so well. Will Ben Earl go to number 7 for England? I think he might do. All I do know about his last year is he has played every minute of every game for England. He's top carrier, top meters, quite often top tackler. He's played 12 times, got 4 tries, all action, bundle of energy, absolutely brilliant. Maybe not quite as good in November as he was in July and the Six Nations. And for that reason, he just stays where he is at number 4. And Gregory Aldrit stays just above him. Remember, this is not just on who played best in the most recent games. This is current form and a bit of historic form and a bit of gut feeling taken into account. Now, Gregory Aldrit had a bit of a hangover from the Rugby World Cup. It wasn't his best Six Nations performance. Fabien Galtier started to juggle his deck a little bit with the back row, but he's come roaring back into form in November, playing really well for La Rochelle, and I'm sure he's going to have a very good Six Nations in the games coming up. And when he's on form, he is just one of France's best players. I was going to say France's best player, but that's clearly, they've got a few of them, Dupont, Penaud. In the forwards, he's the main man. He just makes everything tick. And in terms of rugby brain, rugby IQ, just intelligent running lines and offloads and all the rest of it, they don't come much smarter as rugby players than Gregory Aldrit. He's still only 27 as well, which surprised me. He is at number 3. Why has he got a number 1 next to his name? Sorry, should have changed it to a number 2. Apologise, my mistake. Ardie Savea is down 1 spot to number 2. We have a change at the top. Ardie Savea is absolutely amazing. One thing you can look at with all of the number 8s, particularly in the top 4 positions, they play every minute of every game. I've said that about Ben Earl. It's exactly the same for Ardie Savea. Every minute of the Rugby Championship, every minute of the England tests in July, which they won, every minute in the November tests. He played number 8 in all of those games except for 1. And much like Ben Earl, you sort of think he might be even better as a 7 than an 8. The one game he did play 7 for New Zealand was the one game they lost very narrowly to France, and I'm not saying that was the reason they lost, but it's going to be really interesting to see whether does Wallace Satiti become the number 8 and Savea on the flank. How is that going to work moving forward? All we know now is he was World Player of the Year last year, and he's right up there to being one of the best players in the world right now, but he is on the number 8 list at least, and I'm hoping that Caelan Doris is going to have a number 1 next to his name. He does, so I've only made one mistake. Caelan Doris, upper spot to number 1. It's close at the top, but I had to give it to Doris. I mean, he was nominated World Player of the Year this year. I think deservedly so. Ireland won the Six Nations. He was captain through that and was just amazing. Him and Josh van der Flier in the back row for Ireland, world class. And in those July tests out in South Africa, I was there in Pretoria and in Durban. Best player across both teams, best player on display. Oxenchae for South Africa, Caelan Doris for Ireland. Talismanic, huge. And what really impressed me, Caelan Doris in his international career, he's played lots at 6, he's played at 7, and he's now obviously the main man at number 8. But it was the physicality that he brought, the bosh that he brought. He's got a great rugby brain, runs really intelligent lines, knows when to go in and jackal at the breakdown, manages the referees really well, understands and reads the game brilliantly, but just pure bosh is what he brought in those South Africa tests, and just elevated him in my expectations to another level. He unlocked a new level in those 2 test matches, and he's now got to be odds-on favourite to be the British and Irish Lions captain, and deservedly so, because I'd say out of all of the positions in the British and Irish Lions, along with Josh van der Flier and probably Dan Sheehan when fit, automatic selections. He deserves his spot at number 1 for me. There you go. Tell me if you disagree. If you think Ardie should still be number 1, if you think another player should be higher or lower or on the list that I've left off, let me know. That's what the comments are for. I'll be down there with you there, and I'll continue with the back line in the videos that are coming up. But there you go. The forward pack done and dusted for another series of Player Power Rankings. I'll see you on the next one.